Welcome back, FM Talk 106.5 and Mobile Mornings, and time for, well, my favorite segment of the month, and that's Law 251 with Tobias and Comer Law, and Bryan Comer's in with us today. Good morning, Bryan.
Good morning.
So we have a lot to get into, and another one of my favorite subjects we'll discuss, artificial intelligence, AI, and its use in the world of law and in the courts. But first, let's talk about a pressing matter. And that's the Nappies.
Absolutely.
Congratulations to you guys.
Thank you, and same to y'all.
Yeah, Tobias and Comer Law up for Best Personal Injury Law Firm, and you, Bryan Comer, up for Best Personal Injury Lawyer. And then this little thing we do month to month, the Law 251 podcast with Tobias and Comer Law, up for Best Lifestyle Radio Show or Podcast. So,
and you did that with no notes. That's impressive. That is impressive.
Well, I've been saying it pretty much every day here on Mobile Morning. So, yeah, congratulations to you guys. I know you have plenty of the folks who have walked through your doors over the years, and you've fought alongside. They're voting for you, but I know the listeners at FM Talk 106.5 sure would like to too. So make sure you guys vote for Tobias and Comer Law and Bryan for Best Personal Injury Lawyer.
And, one thing I will say on it, I really want to underscore, it does show, we talk about all the time our involvement in the community. And I think from our perspective, that's one of the best things is to be, recognized, because we are in the community and we do, try to make it a little bit better. And it's always fun with the Nappies, and always great to be nominated.
Yeah, very cool. So vote nappies.com, and Tobias and Comer up for those categories. And
so vote early and vote often.
That's right. No redistricting for this.
That's
Make it easy for you. So let's talk about AI. I mean, it's everywhere now. There's no escaping it. Even in the courts, and we've heard and seen some people get in trouble for using it. What are you seeing out there?
Yeah, so it's wild. I was thinking about this coming over here, like where you thought AI would be, when we were kids, and you think of like 2001: A Space Odyssey or, Terminator or something like that. But the reality of it is, and what we're seeing is, I think a lot of times people are using it while it can be efficient. When people are misusing it, then that's where problems come in. And so whether it be some attorneys who've been in the news lately for either taking a shortcut, or maybe they got pressed for time or whatever and resorted to it without checking behind their work, or people who think, I don't need a lawyer. I'm going to sidestep this. I can do this myself with AI. And I think both are a mistake and end up, biting them in the end.
Yeah. So I guess a couple things here. Someone who doesn't want to go through the work or hire a firm to help them out and go to them for help, they think, oh man, AI is as good as it's ever been.
Right.
I'm sure this will take me right through, and I can just feed in what I need to let it know, and then it'll spit out a perfect form that I can give to the court or whatever it may be.
Yeah, and that's where it gets dangerous. So we've got a case right now, actually, in a different county. We were talking about it before we went on the air, and somebody they're unrepresented and clearly filed an AI document, and for whatever reason they chose not to go out and hire a lawyer, and you can tell immediately as a lawyer if something is just wrong, whether it just is a mismatch of legal words that don't really go together. Like I was telling you, it'd be like peanut butter and baseball. It's just like something that's just like, no, that's not even close. And so it can be dangerous. And so you think, okay, well, hey, to an untrained eye, this might, this looks legal, this looks right. And, you're really doing yourself a disservice there by doing it.
Yeah. And I mean, this is a world you live in. This is your life.
Right.
And it's obvious. And I'm sure, how long did it take you to figure out or have at least a pretty good idea that was AI?
About 20 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah. So it works against you in that favor. Yeah. But I think you kind of referenced it too. I mean, it can still be helpful, but you need someone with experience, a real personal injury attorney, to help you out. I mean, you're basically if you're trying this on your own with AI, that'd be like, I don't know, walking into a game at Bryant-Denny and thinking you can just get out there on the field and play ball.
Yeah,
it's not that easy.
Yeah, that's a good point. And it has its place. Okay, so like we were talking about before we went on the air, if you're trying to do, say, something simple, a bill of sale, I've got this thing I want to sell, my boat or whatever I want to sell to you. I just need, a couple of sentences. Fine. There's been some products out there for years, where you can, get a will drafted or whatever. You don't need to hire somebody. That's where you get into a lot more dangerous things, because when you start talking about things in the law in particular, you don't want to trust what happens to your stuff after you pass away, the whole point of a will, to some computer program that might not be right. Mm-hmm. And the same's true if it's your personal property that's at stake, or your livelihood or whatever. You don't want to go trust that to a machine that can hallucinate and spit out stuff that's completely wrong. And I think that we see that a lot, particularly with the lawyers who rely on it too heavily and don't go back and check their work, where it's creating a case that doesn't exist out of nothing. And, the courts realize it. There was a recent opinion out of the Alabama Supreme Court where they went through page by page of every single instance where the lawyer clearly used AI, and it was just wrong. And it's a waste of resources. And not to mention, it's really just not a smart thing to do, because you're putting yourself at jeopardy in the process.
And those hallucinations are real.
They are.
I mean, I see it all the time. If I'm just trying to search for some information on a story or some politician I'm looking into, and I'm using AI to, hey, give me a little more background on this person or this story, and I already have even just a base level of knowledge about it. Sometimes I see something, I go, well, that's not right. Well, I can't imagine if I was using that to fight a legal case, right, because I don't have any experience in that world other than our monthly podcast. All that would slip right past me, but not by it wouldn't slip past experts like you guys at Tobias Comer Law.
Yeah, and that's the point. And that's why we say, okay, why is it that you need a lawyer, and why is it that you need somebody with the experience? And that's because, we do know how to navigate, those issues, things that happen, as trial attorneys. We pride ourselves in our ability to be on our feet, to be able to field difficult questions from the court. Just last week, all three of us, Lacey, Desi, and I, were in a hearing in federal court up in Birmingham, and Lacey did a masterful job fielding really tough questions from the bench. That's not something that AI can do. Okay, you can't fake that,
right?
And so that's something that, like I said, that we pride ourselves in, and to a trained eye, it immediately when there's a mistake.
Well, it kind of reminds me of the old street smarts versus book smart, and AI. It can be book smart, but you have the experience. You've been in these courtrooms. You've seen so many different types of these cases, and also just some human common sense. I'm sure when you go out to the scene of some of these, where you're doing your research before a case, Bryan has been in this situation or has seen this before, and AI just doesn't bring that.
No, and again, it's got its uses, and it's a tool just like anything else. Okay, so like when we do legal research, we go into a software that we have a subscription for, and it can pull up relevant cases, but we are the ones who have to do the inputs to get the results that we're looking for. Perhaps it can help, shave off time from that, or perhaps it can help, craft verbiage on something, that we're telling it to do. But if you don't know what you're doing, it would be like, me stepping out into the world of accounting or something. Well, that sounds like a great accounting thing, but no, that's completely wrong. And it's the same kind of concept.
Yeah, and it's not like the process of calling up Tobias and Comer Law and telling you guys what happened in someone's certain case. It's not like that is I'm sure it's daunting to some, but we've been through that. I've been to your office, and we talked about from step one, getting you guys on the phone or knocking on the door, all the way through that process in a case. And it seems totally worth it to come right to you guys. Like strategy and preparation, that's stuff that goes into these cases as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's from, like we've talked about before, that's from day one. You come in, you tell us what your problem is, and then, okay, is this something that we can help with? And if so, then we're going to do the things that we need to do to get it ready. And that certainly is something that AI, can't do. Now, if I were talking to my grandchildren, years and years from now, and they were telling me what it would do, maybe it does at that point. But where we are right now, particularly with the technology, is definitely not there. And you can really get, we say out over your skis, so to speak, and in trouble if you do rely on it too much.
Yeah, and we're already seeing that.
That's right.
Seeing that happen, even for you, up close and personal, seeing that. For somebody listening who may have a case, tell them why they need to call Tobias and Comer Law, and it's really easy too.
Yeah, it's the experience. I mean, we're right here in the community. We know what we're doing. We've been here, and I think the best thing that you're going to get with us, we're going to shoot straight with you. You're going to understand exactly what you're dealing with, and if this is something that we can help you with, then we're going to work tirelessly to help get you the best result that we can, whether that be in court, whether that be after an appeal, whether that be a settlement. And that's what we bring to the table.
251-432-5001. That's the number you can call 24/7, Tobias Comer Law, and the website, tobiascomerlaw.com. And another website, I'll bring it up again here at the end of this segment, votenappies.com.
That's right.
We're in the home stretch here, so I know Tobias and Comer Law and Bryan and certainly us at FM Talk 106.5 would appreciate those votes. Thanks again for coming in today.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Dalton.
All right, I'm gonna go throw away my computer. I think there's too much AI on it right now, so I really appreciate it. That does it for Law 251 with Tobias and Comer Law. Coming up next, stay tuned. The Jeff Poor Show. He follows right after we wrap things up here on Mobile Mornings.